exciting day, I know, for us as a staff, and it's just a chance to get on the field and get around the players. And this is my 29th college spring coming up, and it's never not been an exciting time to get around them, to coach them, get around to see how much they've developed, to see how they have progressed from our last time out back in December to right now. So for me, not just for me, but for our staff, and I know for our fans and everyone involved, that they're excited as well. Even though we're right in the middle of a great basketball surge by our team, which I think we need to make sure we continue to encourage that group playing in March, and is truly an honor, and they're doing a great job. So combined with pulling for Coach Lebo and having pulled for Coach Macy's group to go, it's a great time to get out on the field, and we start that today. It seemed just like yesterday we finished practicing, coming back. So the chance to get back out, really just looking forward to it. It's our fourth spring here, which that seems to have flown by for me. And I'm looking forward to it. Phase one, we divide each year into phases, and phase one, phase two, phase three, phase four. Phase one is Coach Connors and his off-season and strength and conditioning, speed, power, his part. And we have a summary or a night where Coach C gives out most improved, different levels of elite, iron, and superpowered awards, record-breaking lifts or runs or jumps. And phase one with Coach Connors went fantastic. And Coach Connors, as we all know, is a very strict and as far as giving praise and those things, you have to earn it with his group. And he really said this group was one of the best he's had in 20 plus years of doing what he does. And he is absolutely the best at doing what he does. From our strength gains, our speed gains with our group at each position, not just the skills, but the big guys. Really it was an impressive night when we handed the awards out last week. And so phase one, I thought was not just great, but a fantastic part to begin this. And Coach Connors and his staff really are around our team during that year more than anyone. And one of the things he added, intangible things that Jeff added to this group, besides what they've done in the lifting and running and conditioning part, was he mentioned this team has some of the best team chemistries he's been around. And a lot of times, like today, I went back and I watched the 91 team. I watched another team that played the Miami game over in state and those things today. Just to get my mind back in the flow of what Jeff was talking about. And those teams had fantastic team chemistry, as you could tell by how they were successful. From Luke catching the touchdown pass in Atlanta to David running around and completing running that big fourth down play he made. But he said this team had great chemistry, which was awesome to hear Jeff say that. So as a coach, when you're not able to be around them in that setting, this will be the first time we'll have a chance to be around our team with a ball on the field in the off season. So I'm anxious to see that. And with Jeff's work of phase one, really is awesome to get around them again today. I've said that a few times. Phase two of this is spring ball. And that's where we get a chance to develop schemes, which our staffs have been evaluating since signing day week. We dove into film that Monday of signing day. Offensively, with Lincoln and the offensive staff, Rick started installing and coaching defensively that Monday. Kirk along those times, special teams wise. But now is our chance to evaluate what we've done and what we did well, what was effective, what needs to work, what we need to scrap, those kind of things. And but now we get a chance to get on the field and work on those schematically, but nothing outweighs the fundamental part of what spring ball brings. And that may just be from my training and how I was brought up in this. Is the fundamental aspect is never neglected around here. But in spring, you really have a chance to put the football part with the off-season and training part, which Coach Connors does a great job of blending those. But it's our chance to start coaching them now. And it's our chance to develop those fundamentals and weapons and tools to put in our players what I call, quote, quote, toolbox, which they'll be able to use in the summer and in phase 3. And then especially when we get to 4, getting ready for the season back in and coming up this fall for this season. We'll do a lot of our 15 days. We'll have a chance to expose our team to as many looks as we can, offensively, defensively, and special teams. Not just going against East Carolina versus East Carolina, but some of our opponents that we'll play next year. We'll, at some points of the spring, continue to expose our teams to different things they'll see next fall. And I'm looking forward to seeing how we grasp those things. But this really gives us a chance to get around them, and development is always the key, just developing my football team. I'll touch on some things, and then we can ask some questions. Our specialists, I'm very feel good about Charlie Coggins and C.J. Schruck handling the long snapping and short duties. This time last year, we were trying to develop this position, this group, and those two guys come in and they give us really a solid group of guys who have done it in live and live action, and they're both. We feel very confident in those guys, long and short snapping. Punting duties, Trent Tigner and Brendan Rowland will again man those, and Trent did a fantastic job for us last year in our own conference selection, and one of the top guys in our league. And Warren Harvey, I thought, did a great job of just taking over the kicking duties, and that'll be his job, and I'm anxious to see how much he's improved, and so is he. I spoke with Warren last week, and he's excited about it. There's a lot of competition. We have a lot of guys returning that have played on all 3 sides of the ball. Offensively, some guys I'm anxious to see because they've had great off seasons. I'll start outside because this guy's really been a guy that's caught Coach Connors' eye and my eye when I see the results and the stats. Is Lance Ray. Lance was a guy who came in late last year, really, and I've seen it not just in the 29 Springs, but a long time. But Lance had a great off season, and I'm looking for Lance to come out. He'll be at the Z position, and really, he's did a great job in the classroom and adjusting that way. Football-wise, I thought he did a good job toward the end, but I'm looking for Lance to come out and really see how he's developed in the spring and how he comes out of it. Reese Wiggins, Daquan Barnes is a young man you haven't heard of much of. Daquan walked on to us from New Hanover, but Daquan is one of the fastest guys on our team. He'll be at the same position, along with Antonio Cannon and Brandon Bishop. Those guys will be battling at Z. John Worthy's a guy. Jabril Solomon with Reese Wiggins at X. Justin Hardy and Justin Jones will give us 2 guys at the Y position that we'll use, and you saw last year on the field at maybe the same time, because both can play a lot of positions. They're both very smart football players, so those guys will give us some guys there at Y. Danny Webster and Quate Smyer are guys that I'm anxious to see how Danny has grown. He was a little banged up last year. He's had a really good spring, had one of the best shuttle times that Coach Connors has had. That means change of direction drill. So I'm anxious to see Danny come back, and also Quate, who was redshirted last year. Running back position, Chris Harrison will have his hands full and have a lot of reps, and he'll have a chance to prove himself. Another young man that's a walk-on kid from us, Corey Hunter. I'm anxious to see how he performs. Quarterback position, Shane Carden and Cody Keith, and we have Kirk in here now. Kirk is one of the 4 young people that joined us at mid-year. But I'm anxious to see Shane's continued development. He's grown as a leader. Just seeing things that from past quarterbacks I've been around, where you ride by here on a Saturday and you see the whole offense out there throwing the ball around and doing things on their own. And that's what Shane and Cody bring to it. And Kirk really come in and blended in well. This has been good for him. Right tackle will be where Adam Asawi starts with Chad Lowry. I'm anxious to see Chad's improvement and make sure he's pushing Adam at that right tackle. and making sure that happens. Chaz has a great athleticism, and it's time for Chaz to step up and start pushing for a lot of playing time. And we played him sparingly last year, but Chaz has great feet and unique ability there. And Adam's been there and proven himself. Will Simmons will be our starter at right guard, but you'll see Trey Robinson and Drew Gentry and those guys battling for backup spots there behind Will. Will is a leader on offense, and I know Tom and I have both spoken about Will having a chance to have maybe some preseason honors, and he's earned them. You'll see a battle at center with Taylor Hudson and C.J. Schruck and J.T. Board. Those three guys. J.T.'s a guy we redshirted last year, but J.T.'s a really good football player who could play at a guard position too. He's that versatile. So can Taylor. So that makes this a really good mixture here. But those guys will be battling at center with Taylor starting off. Jordan Davis, again, a guy that's been in the mix for the last 3 years. We're looking for Jordan to continue progress. Kiefer Neal's a guy we redshirted last year. We brought in last year. Stuart Henson. We moved Will Fox, a defensive lineman, to offense. Isaac Harris is a guy who I'm anxious to see his development and see him take over that left tackle position. And he's worked extremely hard in the offseason. He's worked really hard since he's gotten here. And Ike is a guy who I've been impressed with, especially last year, of how he's come along. Footwork, understanding the offense, understanding how to get the job done. Ryan Rivera is a young freshman that we redshirted last year, but had a really good offseason, had a really good season on our Thursday night football games that we had, freshman versus freshman, redshirt versus redshirts. But he's really come on and done a good job. And toward the end of last year, especially bowl practice, Lincoln worked Ryan a lot with and integrated him with that second unit during those times. Brandon Smith is one of the other young freshmen that have come in and joined us at mid-year. And Big B has a chance to be a really good player. He's young, but he's very talented, and he's a big human being. Zico Pursuit and Jimmy Booth. You see Jimmy Booth, his name in some big packages that Lincoln has. Zico's the most versatile guy on our offense. He can play about 4 positions. Jimmy can play offensive guard, but also we're thinking about using Jimmy in a blocking thought process and some run game things, and he's excited about that. Defensively, I think it starts up front, and we have some guys out, Damon Magazoo, Jeremy Grove, Justin Dixon, Matt Milner, who will not participate in spring. Jeremy may get some toward the end in a special type situations, but and then Terrell Stanley will not be out there right now, but we could have him back next week. But those are 5 really good football players that will be integrated into that defense of Rick's and who can really make some plays for us. But up front, Lee Begeese and Terry Bowles will be at what we call boundary end position, and Jonathan White, who I'm really anxious to see how Jonathan's improved. He's improved in the offseason. But Jatom Beavers is another young man who's been here and been sort of growing each year. He's gotten bigger and stronger. He's maturing, and he'll have a chance to participate and really have a chance to be a big part of our defense. He's rangy, has speed, just like Jonathan, and can run. And then the young fella that came in again in midseason, another young fella, Randall Anderson, who has been an absolute warrior in the offseason as a young player. So Randall will be a defensive end. He can run, he has range, and you'll see Randall there integrated. The key to our defense will be inside, and Terry Williams and Kershawn Rose, Kershawn is versatile, and so is Lee, can play both positions, but they'll be at nose. Fred Presley, a really fine walk-on defensive lineman that we have here. I'm anxious to see Fred participate. The linebackers, we got 4 groups still, and even with integrating what he wants, it's still a blend in where those guys can be down or up and involved in the pass rush. Darrell leads us at will. Darrell's had a really good offspring. He was off season and preparing for spring. We moved Maurice Falls over to back Darrell up, Jake Geary, and then a young freshman, Drayvon Fairley, who's a redshirt freshman. So those guys are guys we call the wheel position, and where they can rush but also drop, but guys that can provide some pass rush too. But we felt like Maurice, who was a Sam open end, would be better there with Darrell. He's gotten bigger and stronger in the offseason, and Maurice is one of our strongest players on our team, which fits that wheel mode. The outside position, again, I'm skipping inside right now and go outside. Gabe Woolard, who started a lot of games for us last year, is one of the most consistent players we have. who came in and really did a great job for us, solid job. Monteith Overton and Dayon Pratt. Monteith is the guy that got hurt last year who has a ton of ability, and Dayon Pratt's another redshirt freshman like Drayvon who have speed, size, and length. So we feel good about those outside guys. Inside with Jeremy down, Ty Holmes will be starting at the Mike position. Kyle Tudor will be at the Buck. Mike means strong, Buck means weak. Zeke Bigger will be at the Mike with Jeremy down. We wanted to put Zeke over there with Cal and let him battle out with Cal, but because Jeremy's down, we'll leave Zeke at Mike. Brandon Williams, a guy who played for us a lot of special teams. One of the other freshmen that came in, the fourth freshman that came in, Tristan Mumford, we'll start him off at Buck at the beginning, but Tristan also could play Mike strong. And then Reese Spate, he'll be inside. Secondary, where we know we have to make sure we keep strength in that position. Adonis Armstrong, Scarfone, and Deshaun Amos will be at the field corner. And those guys did a good job in the offseason, looking for those guys to keep developing and fight and earn and compete for positions there in our defense. The other position, Josh Hawkins, Dietrich Allen, those guys I think will be two guys that can battle out at the other boundary position. Safeties, Desi Brown, Michael Dobson, who we moved from running back to safety. Michael's had a great offseason. Dominique Lennon is a guy who has really come on for us. I know right now he's listed about third, but look for Dominique, I think, to move up and develop into a position where he can be a guy who affects the team positively on the field with plays and bringing strength, not just to our defense, but to special teams too. But Dominique's had a great offseason. Chip Thompson, another good guy who's had a great offseason, according to Coach Connors, and looking forward to him. And Lamar Ivy. There's a walk-on freshman, Terrell Richardson, and we all know his sons, the twins. If you've been around here, Darren and the Hart brothers, that's their son. He's got a chance to be a special guy. So that's us in a nutshell. We have a vision, and we know what we want to accomplish. But getting our team, staff, everybody around, everybody involved within earshot range to understand the most important thing is understanding the process and what it takes to get to that vision, what it takes, the work, the mentality, the little things, on and off the field. That would be that part. On the field, fundamental development is always key, whether it's playing with lower pads at every position. One of the things, what I mentioned earlier about that was great about our strength and conditioning games is what Coach Connors, when we measure staff, which we meet a lot, but one of the things he mentioned was the team chemistry that he felt from this football team in the offseason when he dealt with it. So developing fundamentally each group, but continue that team chemistry that we have and getting them to embrace the process, the work, the little things it's going to take to accomplish what we want to.